What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BrianDaddy coming at you with another video. Today we're going to run Uldaman. First couple tips you should know is that there's actually checkpoints in this dungeon, which is very nice. But on your way towards heading to the Lost Dwarves, you're going to do some big AoE pulls, as you see here. You're going to want to interrupt Chain Lightning and Stone Spike. Those are coming from the Geomancers. Tanks, be aware that Basilisks have Chomp, which gives you a bleed that you're going to want to make sure you can get rid of. On top of that, pay attention to the hulking berserker's diseased bite. It'll always go on the highest threat target.
Interrupt.
And it'll leave a lingering disease that reduces your movement speed by 30%. Make sure you move away from Brutal Slam to avoid being stunned. And once the hulking berserker drops below 40%, he will cast Reckless Rage, affecting all nearby enemies. As you can see here, we did a nice big chunky AoE pull. It was a lot of fun running this dungeon. I know a lot of tanks like to pull a lot of trash, so you will have a lot of fun. Alright, now you head to the Lost Dwarves. You're going to want to pay attention to Olaf's ricocheting shield. It's going to target a random player and it deals physical damage. It's going to ricochet up to 5 players within 5 yards, so make sure you're spread out basically all the time. Watch out for Eric the Swift. He's going to occasionally cast Skullcracker, which deals physical players within 5 yards, so again, be spread out. And make sure you interrupt the defensive Bulwark from Olaf, which he just did there. It provides 75% damage reduction for the remaining dwarfs. It is important to note that during the entire duration of this, Olaf does not cast any other spells. Once the dwarves reach low health, they will hop on the longboat. As you can see there, they have went ahead and hopped on. They start firing searing cannon fire all over the place. Make sure you dodge it and don't stand in that. And at last, focus on one boss at a time is going to be beneficial, as hasty rearming will increase the rate at which they do searing cannon fire. And the more dwarves there are, the more frequently it will cast. There you go. Bada bing, bada boom, you're done. Now, as you head towards Bromont, it's pretty short. There's not much there. You are going to run into some rock throwers. They will occasionally cast Throw Rock, which isn't interruptible. You know, if you can stun people and whatnot. Basically, just try your best to stack them all up with line of sight and AoE them down. And after a couple pulls, you'll end up on Bromont. A few seconds into the fight, he's going to cast Call of the Deep, summoning a Geomancer and an Ambusher. It's important to note that because the Geomancer is a caster, they will stay far away, so if you have a Death Knight, go ahead and grip them in, interrupt them, do what you can to get them to you. Occasionally the boss is going to cast Thundering Slam, which you see there. Make sure you get out of that. When he casts Quaking Totem, you have to shift your focus immediately to it, as you see we are doing now. As soon as you killed that, it's going to go ahead and increase the damage they take by 200% for 10 seconds. So make sure you knock it out as quickly as possible. Lastly, pay attention to when he casts Bloodlust. You won't be able to interrupt it, but you can Enrage Dispel as soon as you see it. Stunning him during the cast with Tremor will also stop the effect. Healer, make sure you top off your teammates when they are damaged by the Stonevault Trogs, and using healing cooldowns during the Quaking Totem. And there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Now you head towards Sentinel Taladris. On your way towards that, you're going to want to pay attention to the Earthen Custodians. They have a frontal cleave. A tank, you want to make sure you position them so that your party is not getting damaged. They also apply a rending/bleed over time, so make sure you use mitigation or bleed removals to do that. The Refy Custodian sticks alongside the Earthen Custodian, but it's a lot less dangerous and you really don't have to worry about it. And then once you have him open it up, you get the boss fight. Occasionally, he's going to cast Crushing Stomp, knocking all players away and interrupting their casts, and dealing physical damage. Make sure you stop your cast right before he does it so you don't get interrupted. Avoid soaking any of the resonating orbs. This will significantly increase the difficulty of the fight. On Mythic, the boss gains Unrelenting, which stacks, making the boss have a softened rage. You want to save your cooldowns and kill it as quickly as possible. Tank, The boss is going to cast Titanic Empowerment once she reaches 100 energy. It is important for you to clear her remaining inexorable with the orb, so right before she reaches 100 energy, so that way later on you can stun her. Healer, make sure that when she casts Crushing Stomp that you don't get interrupted, and use cooldowns when the Earthen Shard Bleeds effect is going out on random party members. It's also a good time for them to use their own personal defenses as well. And there you go. You knock her down. And now you're on your way to Embrion. Upon defeating her, you'll be heading towards the second to last boss in the dungeon. Your group will face several new non-boss enemies, each of them getting more difficult. You want to make sure you interrupt Stone Bolt from the Earthen Weaver. This mob will also cast Hail of Stone, which will channel on a random player. It's important that this cast, you can't interrupt it, but you want to stun or disturb it in some way. Beware of the Runic Protector and its Fissuring Slam ability. Also make sure you interrupt or purge Earthen Ward coming from the Earthen Warder. Once you get to the spiders in this next area, the skittering crawlers will randomly cast Pounce on a party member. You'll want to essentially just make sure you get everyone topped off and render your tanked so that way you can group them all up as easily as possible. And then the last important mob type that you should pay attention to is the Cavern Seeker. It's a bat that will occasionally cast Sonic Burst. It's a non-interruptible spell that will lock you on a cast if you are caught channeling spells during that time. As you can see here with this big pull we did, we were in danger of almost dying here. But luckily, when the tank went down, I actually popped my Earth Elemental cooldown, which really helped us out not die there. And the healer did a great job as well. So that was a really good job. And here's the spiders and bats I was talking about. And just a couple of rooms and you'll be right on to Embrion. Or Emberon, or however you say it. And then upon engaging him, he will cast Activate the Keepers, which basically will activate 4 different little keepers around the room. Periodically, he will also cast Unstable Embers on a random player. And on Mythic, it targets everybody, so it's extremely important to be spread and never overlap with each other. When the boss enters its phase, once he reaches maximum energy, which he's going to do here in about 40 energy, he will have a Sacred Barrier preventing any damage you do to him. And you basically have to watch out for the fireballs, spread out from your teammates, and then watch out for these giant lines that come out of the middle of the room. Purging. Tanks, make sure you aim the Searing Clap away from your party members. Healers, be ready to dispel the burning heat dot that is on your friendlies. And then during the Activate Keepers phase, use your cooldowns, heal your team, because there's going to be a lot of damage going out, and you're going to be spread out. So it's, do your best to stay with the team. As you can see here, we are going around the room as a team, going to each keeper, knocking them out. And now you go back to the boss. It will be possible for some groups with enough DPS to kill him before he even reaches that phase. I'm sure on lower difficulties you definitely can, and once people get more gear, most definitely. Alright, now you head towards your last set of trash until the Chrono Lord. There are a few important non-boss enemies. You're going to have these golems here. The healer has to pay attention that he's only got one ability that's called Thunderous Clap. It does AoE damage to everyone in the area. So if you're a ranged player, make sure you spread out, but still stay within a close distance of your team. And also these Earthen Guardians, they cast Blessing of Tyr. It's uninterruptible. It's an aura that bolsters everybody inside of it. So tank, make sure you take everyone out, and everyone else get out, because if you don't, you're gonna die. It hurts a lot. And then the last one that you'll want to pay attention to is these Time Weavers in this little gauntlet. It applies a Stolen Time debuff that can be dispelled, which stacks. Most important note here is that the debuff has an aura effect, meaning it doesn't have to auto-attack anyone to apply it. As long as they are present, everyone gets it. Be careful how many of them you pull, since it can get out of hand if you get a lot of them. Stolen Time does not get applied when the Infinite Time Reaver is under the stunning effect. And right here you can see that Blessing of Tear effect. The tank should be trying to maybe LOS them around that pillar there and get all of them kind of out of that ability. And here you're running into the Infinite Time Reavers. You can see that they're getting a little buff. And I was purging it pretty often. I did it right there. But they consistently get it, so you really don't want to have to spam purge when you're trying to DPS. Ready. Now we're on Chrono Lord Dios. It's pretty straightforward. Periodically, he's going to cast Eternity Orb. Do your best to dodge it. The ground animation and the follow-up pool will create an Eternity Zone. Beware of the Wing Buffet, as it's not only going to interrupt your cast, but it will also knock you back, causing you to take physical damage. Make sure that there is no Eternity Zone behind you when you get knocked back. Tank, make sure the Sand Breath is tanked away from the group. It's a frontal cone ability, so normal stuff. Healer on Mythic, the boss will cast Time Sink. Debuff goes on a random player in your party, and upon dispelling it, it will trigger Time Eruption, so it's best to wait until the target is in a safe area. And use your healing cooldowns during the rewind time flow, because everyone in the party is going to be taking a lot of damage every second for about 12 seconds. Alrighty, that's it for this video. Thank you for tuning in. If you liked the video, go ahead and smash that like button. And be sure to subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every day. And also be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next upload. We also have a lot of other great content on our channel, so be sure to go check it out. And don't forget to follow me on social media. It's BrianDaddy on all socials. Peace!